Well, that was an adventure. My computer didn't crash. The recorder, the OBS crashed. That was fun. But hey, I'm Insipid, and this is Runescape. Hello, everybody. We are back for another one of our conversations, and it's just ever so good to have you here. What is the topic today? Oh, I had it just a second ago. Oh no. Okay, so today we were going to talk about critical thinking skills. Thank you. Oh, thank you very much, me. Just go, little pat on the back for remembering that in time. Oh man, it feels good. Now, what do I mean by that? There's a whole lot I have been noticing in the media right now, wherein there is an inclination to make judgment calls because we want to assign meaning to something we've observed. Now, I feel like I'm a pretty good scientist. I like to observe things and recognize them as objectively as one can. But that doesn't always get to happen. And so I wanted to discuss something called reading against... I'm sorry, Mr. Log. I'm not trying to use you. I'm trying to light you on fire. Which is basically the hottest thing you can say to someone you're trying to pick up. Because arson! It's also murder, I think, if you set someone on fire and they die. Only if they die, though. If they survive, they're just a burn victim, and that's way different. Critical thinking skills. And so, when you read something, you need to make sure you read it in two ways, at least when you're trying to be critical about it. Read it with the grain, which means, I could agree with this. I'm going to listen to what they say and go, yeah, alright, that adds up. I'll give them the benefit of the doubt and just try and pick up what their core message is. But reading against the grain is at all times being skeptical. At all times going, alright, I hear what you said, but why should I believe it's true? And that's a very important distinction when you're taking in information. If you are inundated, echo-boxed by information you agree with, alright, that feels really good. That is an intellectual warm blanket wrapped around you. It's just a nice place of safety. It is very, very comfortable and easy to wrap yourself up in that warm blanket. And you know what? I do it sometimes too, because you can't maintain critical thinking all the time. If you say that you can, good job thus far. I welcome you to maintain that every second of every day forever. Now, you can go ahead and chagrin me right now and go, Insipid, this weak-willed son of a bitch. Alright, that's fine. You're allowed. You're actually allowed. I'm not going to stop you. But I want you to remember that moment on the day that it ever comes to pass that you didn't sleep well. You didn't eat that day. And now your critical thinking skills are just ever so slightly diminished. Are you still maintaining a constant vigil against all that may be nefarious and out of place? Probably not. But that is part of our humanity and is very, very important in terms of how we interact with each other generously. We are going to be patient with each other. We also have to understand that we are going to be very human as we're fighting this fight. To that effect, I want to emphasize that engaging in critical thinking and reading against the grain doesn't mean you have to suddenly stop thinking what you're thinking about a topic. But you have to allow yourself a contrast. You have to allow yourself to doubt what you believe, lest you become complacent intellectually. Likewise, on the other side of things, find stuff you disagree with. Please, find anything. A journal, an article, a YouTube video that makes you feel uncomfortable, and then start asking questions. Why does this make me uncomfortable? Why do I disagree with this? And try reading with the grain. If you can listen to someone else, and you can just listen in and go, I understand why that statement was made. I understand more about their position, their way of thinking, because I was able to read with the grain. And that's not intellectual acrobatics. That's not you betraying an ideology or yourself. And I certainly hope that we aren't partnering our sense of identity with politics. Because if all you can be, if all you allow yourself to be is a Democrat, you might be missing out on the bigger picture at times. Now, I can see how a person might utilize philosophies of democracy or philosophies of republicanism to inform their political life. But political life has become increasingly separated from real life. These are overpaid rock stars rolling around doing an amazing job of staying elected. That's, that is just unfortunateness. Now, otherwise, if you do believe yourself to be a Democrat or a Republican or a Libertarian or, I don't know, an anarchist, just allow yourself to be exposed to these other philosophies. The fact that we have an ongoing movement in our country that kind of stands rigidly between what I kind of interpreted as, what is it, Antifa, and I think we're referring to them collectively as the alt-right. I am a little bit uncomfortable with how the conversation is unfolding, in so much as it very frequently devolves into calling one group Nazis, which I doubt that many of these people are actually National Socialists, please. And then otherwise, just defaming them, saying, you don't actually have good opinions, and therefore I don't have to listen. On the other hand, Antifa, the core of that group, is being chagrined and debased by saying that they're being bigots, and that they are not allowing for other opinions to be aired. And the fact that we have gotten to an extreme in the situation where both sides are refusing to engage in that critical analysis process, both of themselves and of their counterparts, is in part, I would say, an influencing factor as to how we've arrived where we've arrived. I believe I have talked before about the feeling of righteousness. The feeling that I am right, my enemies are wrong and evil, and God damn it, I love being the good guy in the story. No one wants to talk about their trials and tribulations and go, yeah, well, luckily I was on the wrong side of history. No one's gonna do that. Everyone's trying to be the right, just being correct, not ideologically right. That's a different thing. You'll have to forgive me. The semantics are a bit loose at times, and I think that's another one of the problems, potentially. Within scientific literature, there's an expectation of a rigorous operational definition for everything. If I'm going to replicate your results, if I'm going to replicate your ideology, I need to know exactly how you defined everything. And any sense of definition is being lost. I mentioned before, just that though the word Nazi has been so horrifically co-opted, and at the same time, we want to place this heady offense to it, but we're actively watering it down. We are losing the horror of what occurred during World War II. We are losing the horror of World War II because we are simply inundating ourselves with the word Nazi. Now, I might profess that might be a good thing. By watering something down so much, we get to dissolve it from our ethos, and we get to put it behind us. Because it's good. It's good to be horrified by something like, oh, I don't know, a Holocaust. But you can't live your entire existence, your entire eternity, in a state of fear. That doesn't get us anywhere going. Is this a Holocaust denial? Fuck no. Is it an appreciation that what occurred at that time was horrific, barbaric, and just absolutely beyond the pale? Yes, please. Could we argue that some critical thinking at that stage might have also been helpful, leading up to, not like, oh hey, we just went from a cool, kosher kind of town, finger guns, straight to concentration camps? I don't think it quite happened overnight, but I believe something culturally occurred. The zeitgeist, if you will, wherein there was this slow progression of lost critical thinking. This was the era of propaganda, wherein we really had it come into its own. And if you listen to propaganda and you're not prepared to critically analyze it, you're gonna miss something. Someone's message is gonna get heard, and you're not gonna get to counterpoint it because you're not prepared. You haven't trained this set of skills. And I think that, if I could culminate on any one message, the message is this. There's propaganda out there. There's a lot of it. Get ready. Train yourselves. Have that vigilance for propaganda. For the rest of our lives, for the stuff we're just trying to get to tomorrow for, be patient. Be forgiving. Read with and against the grain, and try to remember to love each other. With that, I'm going to go ahead and say I've railed this topic up nice and fine. I'm going to catch you guys on the flip side. Take care, everybody.